At a seemingly calm UFC press conference, Dricus du Plessis, cool, collected, drops a single line that strips Israel Adesanya down. Adesanya breaks. The room rattles, and suddenly you're questioning everything about identity, legacy, and where trauma ends and performance begins. That moment defines the two distinct trash talk styles colliding at UFC 319. The silent sniper versus the bulldozer. Brace yourself. This isn't hype, it's mind games.
You're saying that I
Bro,
made it
shut
about
the fuck up. You don't even know anything about my story. You have no idea who the fuck
I don't
I
care
am.
about your story. I don't care about your story.
Listen, my father and myself had to wake up at 4 a.m. and clean the banks while my mom studies to be a nurse. You don't know my story.
I don't care.
I will show you who you are Sunday. So right now, shut the fuck up.
I can't wait.
Back by unless you see. That was me making my dream come true. Sunday, I'm gonna kill your dreams. I wanna kill your dreams.
Straight out of EFC 62's press conference, an accusation from Yannick Bahati hung in the air. He implied Dricus du Plessis was juicing with performance-enhancing drugs. No DNA proof was offered, just a thinly veiled rumor. Instead of deflecting, du Plessis cut deep. He didn't argue test results, he went straight for character and fatherhood, mocking Bahati for neglecting his child and calling him a scum father who doesn't give his son any attention. The burn landed hard. That moment wasn't just trash talk, it was a turning point. Du Plessis showed he didn't need multiple insults, just one surgical strike to psychology wins round one.
See a guy sitting next to me holding a belt in a division. Somebody that I can smash and take his belt. That's what I see.
Him and Mr. Opperman have been in the toilet together, injecting steroid up the ass. That's what I heard. So look at the size of his head, you can tell he's been injecting steroid with Mr. Opperman. So it's a pleasure to finally meet my African son in Dricus, So I see him as the welterweight champion. So I know it takes a lot of hard work to achieve something like that. So obviously he's won his belt for a reason, so in any second round I can just snatch it right now, do a Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo, and down my belt. If I take it off him, you're gonna start crying. He's my son at the end of the day.
I watched that countdown show. Obviously your own son hasn't been getting too much attention.
What?
Your own son hasn't been getting too much attention, so maybe you can give me some attention. Maybe you can be a better daddy to me than to your own son. That would be great.
I know I'm your dad.
That exchange instantly became the blueprint for du Plessis' promo style. One perfectly placed line designed to shake opponents emotionally, not entertain fans formally. It elevated his game from blunt to shrewd. He'd proven that when you poke a hornet, don't smile back, sting instead. The next day, back in the cage, Bahati rushed in emotionally and got submitted in 90 seconds. That night, du Plessis became a two-division EFC champion. The steroid jab wasn't about doping, it was about control. From then on, du Plessis used the mic like a scalpel, not a machete. At UFC 305 in Perth, Dricus du Plessis took aim at identity when he said, "I'm the African fighting in the UFC. I breathe African air. I wake up in Africa every day. That's an African champion." At one point he lashed out, "Are you taking the servants with you when you go back?" A reference meant to provoke Israel Adesanya, who'd mentioned growing up with maids in Nigeria. Adesanya snapped, tears streamed, anger flared. "Shut the fuck up. You don't know anything about my story." His voice cracked as he described his family working dawn shifts to pay for school. That mic blade shifted the fight. Du Plessis' claim wasn't just about belt history, it was a full-scale identity flashpoint. It forced the sport and fans to ask, who owns the African legacy in MMA? The exiles abroad, or the homegrown fighter who never left the continent? What if a fighter stays silent for weeks, then at the perfect moment unleashes one line that rattles his opponent's entire world? That's what happened at the UFC 297 press tour. Sean Strickland had spent days verbally attacking Dricus du Plessis, firing at every target until du Plessis leaned in cold during the final conference in December. You think your dad beat the S out of you? Your dad doesn't have shit on me. Every childhood memory you have is gonna come back. In that moment, the room cracked. Strickland, usually an immovable wrecking ball, visibly lost composure, and later attacked du Plessis in the crowd at UFC 296, a chaotic, emotional response that left even UFC staff concerned. What made it more brutal? It wasn't invented. Strickland had told painful, real stories about his abusive father on This Past Weekend with Theo Vaughn, a trauma du Plessis weaponized publicly. Strickland later said those details should have been taboo. Du Plessis said he has no regrets, calling Strickland a hypocrite for dishing it out while refusing to take it back. That press conference was a chess move that read as everything but. The fallout was lightning fast. Strickland's tears, his emotional breakdown, and du Plessis walking into UFC 297 with a psychological opening. A freight train of intimidation arrived, and it didn't need perfect English. Khamzat Chimaev came face-to-face with Gilbert Burns and didn't mince words, even if he muddled them. He promised to smash that guy, kill him, and insisted he'd smash his face instantly. It wasn't polished, but it was lethal. His phrases came across as raw and primal. Broken English, guttural threats, energy turned physical. In one moment, he slammed the table so hard that it rattled the arena, and the message landed. He's not just in the cage to fight, he's there to dominate your fear. Burns tried laughing it off, asking for a translator mid-rant, but Chimaev simply smiled with menace. That was the Chechen paradox. Hesitant in fluency, ruthless in intent. This was trash talk not built on polish, but raw volume and inescapable heat. The line was clear. I don't care, your face is mine. And in that moment, speech became a weapon before a punch did.
At UFC 294 in Abu Dhabi, the face-off between Kamaru Usman and Khamzat Chimaev cracked open like two continents colliding. Usman, cool and composed, stared down the unbeaten Chechen bully without flinching. No insults, no posturing, just icy stillness. Behind him, Dana White watched closely as tension sliced the arena air, shortly after White himself stood between the two when the heat nearly flared. Usman spoke first. It's my will against his. We'll see who unravels first. That quiet gamer strategy called back to his veteran status and methodical pace. Chimaev replied without hesitation. Nobody comes to dance. I'm here to kill somebody. I come to smash your face, bro. Subtlety? Reject. Chaos? Embrace. Then came the iPhone metaphor. You're like iPhone 5. I'm the pro. Bold, mocking, modern. Usman called him old again. Chimaev returned with savage confidence. I don't think you can teach me anything. Too old for that. Be a coach. Healthy for you. Screened by silence on one side and silent danger on the other, the press conference became more than trash talk. It laid groundwork. Usman's control versus Chimaev's raw edge, a clash of mental styles, where one gaze could speak louder than gut punches. The fan base got split deep when Dricus du Plessis called himself the first real African champion, pointing to athletes like Adesanya and Ngannou who relocated. Critics accused him of a cloaked hierarchy. As one Redditor put it, when you imply you will be the first real African champion, you're implying the previous African champions are not real Africans. That framing sparked debates not just about nationalism, but class and colonial legacy. Abil Razak Al-Hassan even branded it a B-word for betraying unity and privilege. Meanwhile, the bulldozer, Khamzat Chimaev, received his own backlash. Bilal Muhammad publicly called for originality. Why you keep using Habib and Conor lines? Be original, brother. And on Reddit, a meme forum cut hard. Not just act like someone, but literally copy them word for word. So cringe. Fans were left to parse two tactics: surgical provocation versus crowd rallying aggression. Both engaged minds. Some is psychological genius, others as emotional overdrive. At UFC 319 on August 16th, 2025, live from Chicago's United Center, Dricus du Plessis meets an undefeated challenger Khamzat Chimaev in a middleweight title fight that pits sniper-like verbal precision against a bulldozer of raw aggression. Both men are 31, both undefeated when du Plessis captured the belt, and both now dead even in ambition. The question, whose mind snaps first? Du Plessis enters with a blueprint built on emotional triggers. He pulled Adesanya into tears, weaponized Strickland's childhood and identity at promo pressers, and then followed up with running clock finishes inside the cage. Michael Bisping and media outlets call him unpredictable, cerebral, and chaotic when it matters. Chimaev storms in with a perfect 14-0 record, savage wrestling game, and pressure that has broken elite opponents like Whitaker and Usman. His fatherland work ethic coupled with dominant grappling made him pundits call him a future champion, and his self-stylized wrath on screen has freaked out fans. On Reddit and MMA media, opinions are split. Some argue du Plessis' intelligence will guide him to a late-round submission. Others think Chimaev's non-stop engine plus takedown power will short-circuit any mind games early. If the fight stays tight until round 3 or later, Du Plessis' mental edge may crack open Chimaev's resolve, but if Chimaev barrels forward and wrestles with no break, he could short-circuit the entire blueprint before Du Plessis even lands that one speech line. The cage isn't just physical. Every stare, every word, every breath counts. On August 16, 2025, Mind or Matter will lose first.